Empowered, podcast that equips the church, parents, leaders, and the next generation. Hosted by Paul Spurlin, Caleb Sampson, Jerry Elder, and Caleb Norwood. 4 voices, 1 mission, to build stronger ministries, faithful families, and disciples that last. Real talk, real tools, real encouragement. This is Empowered, and it starts now in the Ministry League Network.
Welcome to the Empowered Podcast, brought to you by 4 guys who love the church and love all of its people. We're here to connect the church, parents, leadership, all people, in a great opportunity to grow God's kingdom. And that's what this show is all about, for us to see what we know to help you with our experiences and our education and some things that have gone on to bring y'all in this conversation. My name is Paul. I am with Jerry and Caleb, and this is the Empowered Podcast. Take it on, guys.
I feel like a farmer today.
Okay, when I said take it on, guys, I probably should have said take it on, Jerry. Take it on one person.
I feel like
Welcome to the show. This is the Empowered Podcast. Jerry, take it away.
All right, Caleb, how are you today?
Norwood. I'm great, Jerry. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Tell me what's going on in your world.
Well, this week is honestly, we just got done with grad school, so we are winding down. We're starting to, our interns will start on Sunday, so that's a big thing for our youth group, and we're excited about that. We've got 2 phenomenal interns, and they're going to be great this summer, so I'm so excited for them.
Awesome. Sampson, what's going on in your world down at Heritage?
We're done with finals. We're done with graduation. We're gearing up for the Revive conference at the end of the month. It's a church evangelism workshop. And so love for everybody to come be a part of that. But got a lot of recording in my next few weeks that I'm working on, but glad to be here.
Super. And Paul Spurlin, tell me what things are good going on at Piedmont Road and with Ministry League.
We're all about connecting, folks. That's what we do. Like everybody else, we got a graduation thing coming up this Sunday, and dealing with that, and I'm looking forward to that. We have 9 this year, so a lot to deal with. Some have more, some have less, but we're blessed. And there's that. We got an event next weekend. Caleb and I, with a C, is involved with in Birmingham, a digital war, digital parenting kind of an event. So we're getting ready for that too. So a lot going on. Just because the school year ends doesn't mean ministry stops. We continue no matter what, every single day. That's what's crazy. Let me just say this. We think that in my life, people think December's crazy because of exposure, or in youth minister's life, you think summer's crazy because it's summer. But I think ministry has turned into a situation to where it's just busy. It's just ministry. It's life. And if you're not busy in ministry, then you're probably not doing it right. So here we are to teach you how to fill up that calendar.
That's right.
And summertime is really when the rubber meets the road.
Well, it is. But, one of the things I think, Paul, I want to go back to you talking about using the word busy. You talk to various youth ministers, you talk to various ministers, and you say, well, I'm really busy. My schedule's really busy. I like to say ministry is good.
Oh,
busy,
absolutely.
I think, to me, to a Jerry Elder thing, busy is the negative word. To me, it's for me. I think ministry is great. And the fact that we get through ministry is very, very effective. And I think we're transitioning a little bit right here into what we want to talk about, that, building a ministry that lasts. Okay. So, we're at different spectrums here, everything from 2 years to, the time when Noah and his kids were in my youth group. And so we get, we're at that different spectrum. What is it that's going to make your ministry last? And I want to be on this, not just youth ministry. What is it that makes a ministry last? Let's talk about that for a little bit. Caleb, Norwood, what do you want to see with your 2 years? what do you want to see for your future ministry that lasts? What are some of the things that you recognize?
Yeah. So one of the biggest things that has been such a blessing for me these past 2 years, and something that's going to continue on that I need, is just a great relationship with my elders. That has been solid. I mean, I serve under 12. We just had one step down, so I'm about to set 13.
Count them up.
I serve under 12 phenomenal elders that love the Lord, that love his church, that love us ministers, and that want to pour into us. And so just seeing all of that and having that great support system with elders is so crucial for the ministry program. One of the things that I need to, that I think has to go into this, is not revolving myself around the ministry, not making the ministry me. Does that make sense? You know, I help facilitate this ministry. I help guide this ministry, but I'm not the ministry. And so those are two really big things that I think are going to outlast me in this role.
Paul, whenever we think about Paul, whenever you think about it, what do you run through on that?
I think it's all about focus. I think it's about keeping your eye on the ball, and also being aware of the calendar when it comes to ministry in general. Because the one thing I've learned from my transition, 30 years in ministry, from youth ministry, some pulpit, and then now connections, is being aware of what everyone is into. And I guess that's more the connections than anything else, because as a youth minister, I am on the calendar. I'm on the schedule. I want to make sure that and here's the thing, the word consistency is a big thing with me. Consistency and communication. Because if you don't have both those, you're in trouble no matter what you do. I don't care what business you're in. But I think having that in the church, and so everyone's on the same page, that you plan things when you know people are available, or at least you put it out there early enough where they can make plans towards that. And I think all this sounds practical, but I think it really is about being focused and laser sharp on what the needs are with your group, whether it's youth, whether it's college, whether it's senior saints, whatever your deal is. What you're doing is make sure you're creating opportunities for them to grow spiritually, and also to grow within one another. We want to grow to get to know one another better, but also in doing that, growing closer to Christ.
Mm-hmm. So, Paul, on that, what do you think has been the most difficult thing for you in that?
I think the most difficult part is probably the first 2 years in any job, because you're probably going into a situation to where they didn't have that consistency. So I literally, as a youth minister, I would make sure the first Sunday night of every month, let's talk school year, usually is the area-wide devotional. You know, I've been blessed to be in places where we had area-wides, and so they know that's when that is. And so we go to those. Okay, we meet a certain time, we take them, we get them back at a decent time, and get them back to their parents. That's important. Week 2 is our high school and or middle school devotionals after church Sunday night. And then the next week, make sure they understand your K through 5, depending on who you do. This is all youth work here, is the devotional, the lunch. We would do lunch on Sunday because it's easier to do it during the middle of the day. And so that's the schedule every single month of the school year. Obviously, summer's different, but school year, they know it, consistency. So they know what to expect and know how to get there. And that's the conversation you have before you even start a job. But once you get there, you keep that consistency. Once you change that up, people don't know what's going on, you know, and they're going to stop asking you what's going on. They're going to ask the elders what's going on. And that is the worst. And I didn't point to elder to say that, but that is what they do, is they're going to go to leadership. Okay, this isn't happening like you usually do. How do I do that? So take control of that consistency and set that up and let your elders know ahead of time, this is what we're going to do, so that when they do go to them, they can say, well, this is the plan he gave to us, and this is the plan he's going to follow through with, and do that. Once you defer from that, that's when trouble ensues.
Good points.
I think one of the things, and you're talking about the consistency, and you're talking about those things, be an outcome-oriented individual, because when you're going to you're going to begin something, look at it and see if it's going to work. Yeah. Just because you start something doesn't mean you have to always keep doing it, because if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Mm-hmm. Right. And it's okay. And I think that leaderships, I think families, I think ministers, youth ministers all around understand, when you've got something that's going on in church and it's just not clicking, maybe it's time to find something else to fill that spot. Yep. Or let it rest. We don't have to be doing something all the time.
But to your point on that, Jerry, to your point on that too, is if you're going to do something, see it through. Don't start something and walk away and hope for the best. That'll never be successful. See it through, right, wrong, or indifferent. If it doesn't work out, that's fine. Let's do something different later. But at least see it through so it had a chance to do what it needs to do. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm just going to go to Caleb Sampson for a second. Since Caleb works primarily with a lot of the podcast and things that he sees out here, and he watches a lot of these things take place. What is the things that you see that not only preachers, youth ministers, but maybe just a member, if they're wanting to start something like this, what do you see they can do to have that consistency and be a glory to God?
Well, not to start off on a negative, but don't be lazy. Just put in the work. And one of the things that I think the church has not done well in the past is, if we're going to do something, let's do it well. And not just slap something together and, believe that just because you like yourself that you're going to be wildly popular. Put in the work, put some effort behind it, and then try to make real connections. People want authenticity, and that's what really comes through. Young people are huge, like, lie detectors. They can sense when people are being genuine or not. Oh, yeah. And so putting in the effort and being really genuine about that you care about them. I've known guys that stayed at works for years that listening to them speak, they weren't dynamic speakers, but they made connections with people in relationships, and they really showed that they genuinely cared about them. It just wasn't just lip service. And those guys stayed for forever, not because they were dynamic, but because they cared, and people could tell that they cared. And it seems like a lot of young people that look at ministry really want to be that dynamic, charismatic, speaker. But the reality is, you'll make a much longer lasting impact if you really just care about people and their souls, and it comes across. And so, whether it's through digital media or whatever, don't be fake. Just really put in that relationship effort.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think the another point of this is, we're not talking about a social gathering, right? We're talking about the church. Mm-hmm. And therefore, we have to understand that there's a mission here, right? It's not the Caleb show. It's not the Caleb Norwood show. It's not whatever the preacher is or whomever. It's not their show. We are about bringing people to God. And that's how the ministry lasts, is when we remind ourselves of that focus of, hey, I'm supposed to be bringing people to God, bringing people to Christ, bringing them to the knowledge of the redemptive story that he offers me. Mm-hmm. When it's about him, my mission, my ministry will last, because it's not about me. And because here's the thing, ministers are disposable, unfortunately, right? We can go and get another job, but what's the worst thing that could ever happen is if I leave somewhere and that ministry dies because I left. Because I've made it about me.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Let me bump off of you a second, Caleb, on as far as ministers and ministry goes. You've been at Henderson now for 2 years. Statistics say you, as a youth minister, should be getting frustrated and you should start be getting discouraged, and you should, be looking for that next job because the parents don't like you and you're not doing what the elders have told you to do. And your statistic says you're done at 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let me go back on this and say this. Work through the hard times. Ride the wave that happened to you. Don't pick up and leave, because here's one of the things, and here's the old man coming out in me. And so, by the way, if you heard that rumble, that's the rock quarry. It's 12:30. They fire the rock quarry here every day at 12:30. And so, if you heard that rumbling, that's what that was.
I did hear the rumble. Yes.
Okay, so that's the rock quarry at my house. Underneath my house,
excuses.
my house.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever. But back to the point. On point. You got to ride through these moments that become hard to you. You have to work through them, and you got to understand, when you, as a minister, whether Connections, youth, wherever you are in that ministry with the congregation, when you leave that congregation, you're going to hurt the people you leave. And especially within youth ministry. I know of a place, again, will not name names, but they are now on their third youth minister in 5 years. And I'm going to tell you, the kids are hurting desperately bad, because now then they're going to look at a leadership and they're going to say, who's next? And how long are they going to be here with us?
And for that reason, Jerry, I would feel bad for that next guy, because he's going to have to work triply hard to earn the trust of these kids, because they don't know when that ball's going to drop again.
Right. That's exactly right. And granted, don't get me wrong. There are times when there needs to be a dismissal. I get that. But there are also times that you don't need to leave. You don't need to leave a work. You work through it, and you make things consistent in your work. You find the work relationship with your leadership, your eldership. You find that relationship that works, and you pursue through it. And I will guarantee you, if you do that, you will come content. You'll have more, and the Lord's church will flourish beside of it. One of the notes that we made in talking about this, isn't one of the things we want to do is to see what happens after we are gone from this world. It doesn't matter who we are. It's a matter what happens after we work.
That's right.
Jerry, to your point, I think a lot of guys, when their first work especially, have a rose-colored glasses view of what the church is going to be. And they think, I'm going to find the perfect church who's going to just love on me and treat me like royalty. And you get that honeymoon phase of the first, however long, first few months. And they say yes to everything you want to do, and it happens quickly, and you just can do no wrong. And then as soon as that begins to wear off, it's like, oh no, I didn't sign up with a perfect church. I've got to go find that next perfect church. And I know I did that for a while in ministry of thinking, okay, well, if I go to this one, then it's going to somehow be different. And it's people. They're imperfect. There's going to be challenges, and riding through the tough times is really what kind of bonds you together in that process. So, when we're thinking about that in longevity, I think there's a lot of wisdom from guys that have been through it for years and have ridden some of those waves, and it can tell you, it will get better if you continue to work on the relationship and continue to try to push forward. And with the young people, they need that consistency, like the case that you gave of that congregation. Jerry Barber always talks about it being a funeral. When you lose someone in the ministry staff, or even an elder resigns or whatever, it's really, the death of what existed before, and now you're moving on to something else. And the the emotions that we go through are like the death of someone. We grieve the loss, and we sometimes have anger and all those things. And so there's a lot of emotional components that are involved in that.
So, Paul, how do we build something that outlasts us? How do we build I guess the word is legacy. How do I build well, that sounds terrible, not legacy, but
no, it's fun. You're on track.
How do I build that?
Well, I think it starts with so there's two ways of looking at it. There's one, are you going into a place or are you already here? If I'm already here, you want to create strong adult volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of those are going to be your parents. Now, I would never go to Exposure Youth Camp and put, 3 boys who are brothers and their dad to be the person in their room. I'd put their dad somewhere else because I'd want him to have an opportunity to mentor and to minister to other kids, where it's a little different. You seem to be, as a kid, you seem to respect other people more than you do your own parents. That's sad, but it's how it goes sometimes. But that's why you mix it up a little bit, and you give parents a chance to be do work with other kids. I'm talking about youth ministry here, with other children, and let other children's parents come over and do that. So it's all about training volunteers. It's about giving them a specific goal and a list of goals. Some things that are attainable quickly. You want quick hitters. Because if you get someone that is a little, I don't want to use the word frail, is inexperienced in the volunteer area of any ministry, and you're like, I want to help, but I don't know how to do it. It said, like for teachers, I do education here, among other things, and a person comes up to me and says, Paul, I'd really like to teach a class. I've never done it. What do I do? Well, you go to a class. I put you in a classroom of the area which you'd like to teach, and just watch what this person does and watch what we do. Go to class with me and see how I interact with the kids or how I interact with the adults. And I'm going to be honest with you. The way I interact with kids and adults really isn't a lot of difference. It's about relationships. We're people, and we're God's people. And all I need you to do is love people and love the hearts of people. And so I think to build that up is to bring people in, to give them quick hitters, to show them success so they see that success, because success breeds success. And you continue to want to do more if you see those small things, and then build things that take a while to attain, to reach for. And so I think that's a big thing. Goal setting is a big thing. But also, as the minister in charge of that area, or the deacon, or the member in charge of that area, you got to find a way to connect, to talk to people and reach the fringe people, not just fringe kids and youth group, but the fringe people on the outside, to bring them in. And you got to give those small little things to bring them up. And I think that's all about empowerment. Mm-hmm. And that's what's going to build your program.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I had a concept.
What's happening?
Go ahead.
Okay. Go ahead, Caleb.
Well, one thing on that, I had a concept when I first got into ministry, which was a very selfish concept, I think. But it was, if I leave, the church will fall apart. If I leave this work, it's just going to fall to pieces. And over time, I learned that, I want to leave it better than when I came. And mm-hmm. I want to look back 5 years from now and go, man, look at how that grew after I left. And so finding those people, making those connections, training them, if I died tomorrow, I hope it doesn't skip a beat. I hope they keep moving on and are excited about everything that I worked on, not just that if I was the life support that kept it alive. So I think that's I think a lot of people have that concept at first, and then hopefully grow out of that.
If they don't, they have a really dark heart.
Yeah.
A person that wants things to die when you leave, come on. They're going to find somebody who can do what you do. It won't be quite the same. It'll be a little different, but come on. And I think we need to grow up a little bit and be more mature about that in those cases. Sorry, Jerry.
If you're expecting that, then I question your love for the Lord's church.
100%.
I don't want I want the Lord's church to continue to grow where I'm at. Like you made mention of it. If something happens to me, can the work continue on immediately? You know, and that's Paul. It goes back to adult volunteers.
Right.
If you're a lone gun doing the work, you need to step back and get your help now.
That's right.
Because we are not indispensable. People can take our place in a heartbeat, but it needs to be that if you need to leave tomorrow, everything is taken care of for you.
That's right.
Well, the fact is too, Jerry, we can also avoid burnout by getting these adults to help us out. You know, we want longevity for our time in this congregation as well. We don't want to leave, you know, so let's create opportunities that if we had to, we're good. But also, if I'm here, I don't have to face burnout because I'm doing things by myself. So this is really a way to help each other. It's a self-help show, folks. It's all for you.
And you know, one of the things when I first was hired on at Henderson, I had an elder sit me down, and I think one of the most helpful things he's ever said. And he says some great things. It's not like he's a one-hit wonder, but he said some amazing things. But he looked at me and he said, Caleb, he said, as a youth minister, it is easy for you to take on everything. He said, but when you do that, you are standing in between somebody fulfilling their ministry.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, you need to get out of their way.
Yeah.
And he said, let them help you. Don't hinder them. And that has stuck with me, and it has genuinely blessed our ministry here at Henderson.
One thing that we haven't really said much about. Oh yeah, what I'm about to share. It does go further, but one thing real quick is in the consistency and in the volunteers, getting them and the goal setting. It all comes back down to what you do in Bible class. I think the way in which you share the Bible, the way in which you dig deep and really try to teach Scripture, and the way Jesus wants us to walk, really is the foundation to all of it. If we do that, I think everything else is going to fall into place.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Jerry, one thing that we didn't talk about, and I think is something that comes up pretty often about youth work and whether it thrives or not, is the idea of, in a lot of cultures, in churches, you have a youth group that's almost like its own church. And it's separate from everything else that's going on. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, it's real easy to do, because if you think about it, we silo our congregations anyhow, because we'll have, and we'll say, you got, well, I'll use this for an example. We have our children's work. We have our Pathfinders, which is grade 5 and 6. We have the youth group 7 through 12. We've got the C20s, which is now fixing to be branched out to college. And then we've got our 20s, and then we've got our 30s, and then we've got our adults. So, and then you got the empty nesters. So I just, if you were living on a farm, you'd have a bunch of silos out there, and each one of those silos contains a certain thing. But the thing is, you're on the farm, you are out there, and everybody needs to be working together. The older people need to be feeding the younger need to be encouraging the older. Those that are parents need to be drawing in and taking advantage of the situations that take place in churches. Yes, you can make it your own congregation, and if you want to. Is there a place for that? Absolutely. But when you look at something like an EYC, Paul, it's not just young people. EYC. You've got people that are in their 60s and 70s and 80s that attend there.
They do.
And for that, and I'm thankful for that. There needs to be more of it, okay? But the question is, how do you make that happen? How do you make that happen? I think you've got to be intentional to make these things happen. You've got to look at Miss Smith, who needs somebody to mow their yard. Well, it's not just going over and mowing Miss Smith's yard. It's after you get finished and Miss Smith sits down and she brings you that bottle of water. You sit down and you say, Miss Smith, tell me a little bit about yourself. And you find out that Miss Smith's husband was a World War II veteran. what he fought at this place, or he fought and had these things. They have 3 children. Yeah, one lives in New York, one lives in Arkansas, and the other one lives in Louisiana, and I've got 6 grandchildren. Tell me about your grandchildren, Miss Smith. Oh, I've got a boy that's the same age as you, and if he lived here, he'd mow this yard too. But it's about building relationships. When we build relationships, the love of Jesus just flows. That's what happens in that matter. And so, but it takes an intentional work to make it happen, and not think we have to do it all ourselves.
That's right.
100%.
Well, guys, it's
Paul,
been
what's
great.
happening?
I didn't catch that. What did he say?
I didn't catch it either.
What's happening at Ministry League?
Well, what's happening in Ministry League is we had an event a couple of weeks ago, and most of the squares here were there, and we just need to get them all there next year, Jerry. But we got something kind of neat that we're working on coming up the next few months, and I'm kind of excited about it. Should I say?
You should throw it
out there?
You should.
The app that you have that has the songs on it, we're going to keep those songs, but we're going to have a new app for you in about 3 or 4 months, maybe. We'll see. 6 months, something like that. So we're working on it, and we're in the early stages of it, but it's going to be something that all people of all kinds will be able to use and not have troubles just because you have an Android phone. So as Paul is all things to all people, our app will be as well. Yeah. Sorry,
awesome.
Anyway.
That is awesome.
I mean, it's going to be really great. It's going to be a lot of things on it the other one never had and never thought of having. We appreciate all the work that has gone into the other one that we've had, but we are looking at some new things and some new opportunities. And so podcasts growing like crazy and hitting folks all over the world with it. And we're really excited about that. And so just a lot of great
Caleb,
things.
how many podcasts on the Ministry League Network? How many podcasts?
As of today, this new podcast, Empowered, will make our 70th podcast.
We're number 70.
Oh,
we are.
That's pretty neat. That's pretty neat.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's a cool thing, and I'm thankful for all the members of the Lord's Church that are trying to make content and reach people through whatever avenue, and we're just glad to kind of bring some of that together. So connect.
Well, since we're here, you said connect. If we have folks out there that have written things, Bible class curriculum, a lesson, a devotional, send it to us. We'd love to package it and wrap it and throw it on the website, make it available, and give you credit for it in your email address too. So do that. Send that to us at paul@ministryleague.com, and we'll make all that available. We're doing some new things with our resources too. So send it on. We'd love to share it.
Yes.
And there's the website just popped up for you right there. And so, well, let's wrap it up here, guys. What do you expect? I mean, what is it that you really expect in your ministry? Whether you're in pulpit, whether you're in youth, or in education, or whether you're in that newfangled ministry of connections. What do you expect to be?
I'm trailblazing, buddy.
I think one of the things that we brought back is this: we expect some consistency, and that I think that of all things is one of the. There's a second word that I want to talk about later on, is the word transparency in our ministries, and I think that's a word we'll have that we'll come up and talk a little bit about in the future. When I look at the Lord's church around, there's a lot of neat things that take place. You pull your calendar out, you look at it, you know the things that are going to happen, and you know when you've got open days. When you have an open day, don't forget about the Lord. When you have an open day, make sure that that's the day that you work twice as hard for the Lord. There's a thing that I do. I tell people I don't pray for the Lord to come back. Wait a minute, aren't you ready for him? I am ready for the Lord to come back, just like I know my 3 brothers here are ready for the Lord to come back. But I do want to pray for one more day for one more soul. Because in the end of all of this, God gives us, why is it God gives us an every day to go back and gain another soul? He wants all of his children to come home. And how's that going to happen? By us empowering one another to do the work and do the will of God every day.
Powered podcast that equips the church, parents, leaders, and the next generation. Hosted by Paul Spurlin, Caleb Sampson, Jerry Elder, and Caleb Norwood. 4 voices, 1 mission: to build stronger ministries, faithful families, and disciples that last. Real talk, real tools, real encouragement,